Hi, Patriots. This is Miss Lee, and today I want to talk about organizers with you. I'll be introducing to you some templates for digital and physical organizers that you can use to keep track of your assignments as well as long-term projects for school. Now, everybody has their own way or preferred way of staying organized, and I want to give you these examples. So if any of these organizers work for you, I want you to use it. Now, if they don't, I want you to use these organizers as inspiration and create your own organizer. So with that, let's get started. I'm firstly going to talk about digital organizers with you. I'm going to start with a weekly Zoom schedule. Now, you may have heard of this before. I want to be able to remind you that this Zoom schedule exists for you to use. The way that you would use this weekly Zoom schedule is that you would input all of your Zoom link for all of your classes in one page, and then bookmark this page so that it's accessible to you on your Chrome tab. That way, every single day when you open your Chrome tab, you can just click on it and the weekly Zoom schedule will appear. I did add one more option to this Zoom schedule, which is the office hours on the bottom of each Zoom link. So for example, if you knew what Mr. Murphy's office hours are, you would input it here. If Mr. Murphy has walk-in office hours, I want you to put walk-in, and then provide the link, a Zoom or Google Meet link. That way, the next time that you need extra help from Mr. Murphy, you can just go on to this weekly Zoom schedule and click on the link, and it'll take you to his office hours. Now, let's move on to a digital organizer. I'm going to call this digital organizer number 1. This is an example, a template that you can use to organize yourself digitally. This is through Google Slides, and I'm going to walk you through these slides. So you would first put your name here. Now, I inserted this little quote because I love this quote. It says, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall," by Nelson Mandela. I'd like to just put a little bit of inspiration at the cover of your organizer for your everyday use, and you can change that to however you like. This is how it looks like in a week. So for example, on here, I would put in the week of, and it could spell September 28th to October 1st. Here, I would add in any assignments that are listed that day on Monday, for example. So you have English, history, math, science, and then you can also have some notes. Now, throughout the week, there is this part down here that is called backlog, doing, done, and done. One good thing about a digital organizer is that you can just copy, paste, delete whenever it's necessary, which means that this is a live document for you. You don't have to erase anything. Now, for example, if something that you're doing and you type it in here and you're done with it, you would just copy that, move it to done, and you're done. This is an example of a filled out digital organizer from a student. So this is for the week of August 17th to August 21st. As you can see, all of their homework is filled out. Now, if there is no homework on that day, the student wrote none. At the bottom here, they're doing avocado seed. Now, this is a list of all the things that has been done already. This is the following week, 8/24 to 8/28, and it is used in the same way. I'll call the next organizer digital organizer number 2. This organizer is through an Excel sheet. And in the same way, you can bookmark this Excel sheet as your organizer and you can access it daily. Now, on the left-hand side are the subjects. So for example, if your first subject is ELA, and that is Monday through Thursday, and that's your first period, 9:35 to 10:35 a.m. On the bottom here, you're going to insert the Zoom link. So the way that you insert a Zoom link onto the Excel sheet is you would click onto the cell, right click, and then hit, in this case, it's edit link. because the link has already been there. And then you would add the link down here and click apply. Now, I'm gonna go show down here where there's no link. You're gonna right click, insert link, and then add the link and hit apply. So every single time you hover over it, you'll see the link and you can just click on it. And you can do that for every teacher here. That way you would only have to do it once and be able to use this link to access, just like that weekly Zoom schedule that you have. On the right-hand side here, as you can see, these splits here. That means you can freely move from left to right, and the subject, this column would still appear. Okay, so for example, ELA on Monday, you can write down all the assignment that is due on Monday and then write the due date. So I'm going to say assignment number 1 due Wednesday. One good thing about digital planner is that I can just copy this all the way through. So that way on Wednesday, if I haven't done it yet, I know that it needs to be done and I'll do it. You can continuously do this. Now, a tip to planning or keeping things organized is that you can use highlights. So for example, I could say that anything highlighted blue means that it's done. Anything highlighted gray means that it's not done. So if I were to look at this, and I already did my assignment number 1, which is due Wednesday, but I had already done it on Monday. So I'm going to highlight it blue. That way I know that it's already been done. Now, when I do that, because this is a digital planner, I can just go ahead and delete Tuesdays and Wednesday. That way I don't confuse myself. Now, I'm going to move on to physical organizer. The first organizer I want to talk about is the Harvest Park organizer. So let's look at that. Now, this is the physical copy of our Harvest Park organizer. You should have received this organizer at the time of book pickup at the beginning of the school year. Now, if you didn't, send me an email and I'll make sure that you receive one. This is a page in the Harvest Park organizer. It starts with weekly goals. It starts with academic and personal. I'd like to always have a goal of academic and a goal personal so that I can refer to this weekly and make sure that I reach these goals. Now, below you'll have the date and then each column goes by period. So you have these 3 lines per period to fill out the assignments that are due. I'm going to show you an example of an organizer that has been filled out. This is an example of an organizer by a student. This student color-coded their organizer. As you can see on the left-hand side here, this is a key or a legend to the colors that they're using. I see school, important, note, and self-care. And you can do the same. You don't have to use the same key or legend, but what you could do is priority, assignments, tests, due dates, and then decide the colors that would correspond with those. The next 2 organizers that I'll be showing you are notebooks, which means that the way that the organizer is organized is really up to you. I'm going to show you 2 examples of how 2 students used their notebooks to make an organizer for themselves. There can be many reasons for this. For these 2 students, they felt that the Harvest Park organizer was too constricting in that there wasn't enough space for them to write what they needed to write. They didn't like the way it was structured. And like I said before, organizing is a preference. And so if a notebook works better for you, I want you to look at these 2 examples and see how you can incorporate these examples and create your own organizer. In this first example, the student used a notebook for her organizer. So every page is a subject for her. On the left-hand side, she writes the due dates. On the right-hand side of it is the subject and the homework. Now, anything that's done, she marks an X right next to it so that she knows. In the next page, it is very similar. Left-hand side is the due date, and then the subject and the homework that is due, anything that's done, is marked with an X mark. In this next example, the student has a particularly different type of organizer. This organizer is set by dates. So for example, the student writes whatever it is that she needs to do in that day, highlights it however she likes, and uses it daily. So for example, she's even using it for Friday. So as you can see, this is an organizer for personal and academic use. Now that you've learned some tools to get organized physically or digitally, I want you to just take a step back and see if any of these speaks to you. Now, if it does, I want you to choose a method and try using it. If it doesn't and it needs some modification, I want you to do that because like I said before, organizing is something very personal to us. What may work for me may not work for you. But what I hope that what you've learned today is really to find some inspiration to be able to create something that would work for you. If you currently are using an organizing tool or method that works for you already, I want you to continue using that. For any further questions, please feel free to reach out to your counselor. Thank you so much, Patriots.